Hey guys, how's it going? Today we are going to be talking about the world of mint. Now when it comes to mint, there are so many different varieties that you can choose from. It's actually one of the easier plants to grow, especially for those of you who are new to gardening. I highly recommend that you look into growing some mint because like I said, there are so many different kinds. Besides the spearmint and the peppermint, there's a lot of different kinds of different fragrance. They're fairly easy to grow. So today I'll share with you guys the type of mints that I have been growing, and we'll plant some mint together. Also, we'll talk about how to grow them, where to place them, what I like to do with mint, how to maintain them so that they can stay, vibrant and fragrant. So let's get started with this video. Now, when it comes to growing mint, it's actually one of the hardier herbs that you can grow. It's really, like they say, it's hard to kill because it loves to spread. But if you do live in a very a very dry area and without any water, it'll eventually, it'll grow a lot slower. But usually the stems being so thick, unless it is completely dried out, it's not going to die. It's just going to stay a little dormant, and then once there's some water, it'll most likely come back up, unless, like I said, if it is completely dried up. But other than that, mint in general is a spreader, so you want to kind of be aware of where you place them. If they lay down like a stem touching the soil, or even water, it's going to start to root on the node. So it's best to really plant them in containers, unless you want to end up with like a whole field. If you plant them in the ground, it'll just keep spreading, and it'll just be like this beautiful, fragrant, living mulch. Generally speaking, you want to maintain them because you don't want them to take over and you'll have no more room to grow some other things. Mint really don't require that much light to grow because it is, you're growing for the leaves. Some mint take more shade better than others, but usually speaking, you can grow them in full sun or you can grow them in full shade, as long as there's some brightness, even if it's indirect sunlight. But if it's like bright enough, then you can grow some mint. So I have my mint lined up around against this side of the arc trellis, which is it gets more like definitely full shade or a little bit of morning sun and afternoon sun if it kind of catches a little bit of the top area, so it gives a little bit more brightness here and there throughout the day. But it's definitely not in a full sun area. If you grow mint in a full sun space, it's going to have a lot stronger smell and it's going to require a little more water. If it's in more sun, it's going to grow a little more tight, a little more compact, a little shorter because it's not stretching to reach for the sunlight. I usually water them daily in the warmer season. Otherwise, in the winter, it might be like every other day or even every 2 days or something. Because I try to not keep them wet all the time. But as long as they kind of dry out a little bit, or if you can give them like a well-drained soil, it's going to be fine once you do like a thorough watering. It'll even grow in clay soil. I mean, it's just that hardy of a plant. So if you can see in the foreground here, this one gets the most sun, and this is the peppermint. Now peppermint it's got this really lovely sweet fragrance, just like those chewing gum or like the freshened breath type of like minty chewing gum. It smells just like that, and it's pretty minty. So this one, I have kept it in a little more sun. This one actually gets most day of sun, and so you see how tight it is growing. I also laid these down just maybe 4 months ago at the most, and I just kind of stick the cuttings in here directly in soil. I didn't even bother rooting them in water, which is one way you can do, is to root your mint in water first. So here's a glass of water, some mint that my friend did some cuttings for me, and just kind of sitting in water. Once it gets a little more roots, I'm going to plant this in soil. But with this peppermint, I actually did not even root them first because they're just so hardy, especially when I freshly harvest these, like did cuttings of them. The stems are so thick and succulent that I know that it's going to take let's just go ahead and try this for you guys. It is definitely peppermint. It's minty. I love using this. I love drying this for tea. And that's the thing with mint, you know, the more you use them, the faster, the fuller this plant's going to become. So you can see that they're growing a lot more leaves, a lot greener, and a lot faster and more compact because I keep cutting back, because I keep using the mint. And being in more sun, it's not stretching. I love making beverages with them. So if you guys are interested in knowing how I use mint and some beverages that I love making for this hot season, leave a comment down below. I'll make a video of it. So yeah, you can see that peppermint, I use it quite a bit, and that's why I left it out in this more sunny position. It gets mostly sun throughout the day. And like I said, the more you pick the mint, the more you kind of cut them back, the more beautiful and compact they will grow. Because the mint actually likes to, well, mint is more fragrant on, you know, the more tender new growth, and in order to encourage new growth, you want to cut them back. So you basically just keep snipping back the stems. So don't just be, you know, stingy and picking a leaf here and a leaf there. You want to kind of create a little bouquet for yourself. Once in a while, you're going to want to take it out and divide them, because mint are spreaders. When you are keeping them in a container, especially in the past when I grew chocolate mint for a while. Mint kind of just trails along, you know, on the surface those few inches. It doesn't need a very deep space to grow in, and so I was having it in a shallow pot. But what happens is, because it's in a ceramic pot, it would just keep wrapping up itself and eventually just like tangled and like strangled itself to death, because I wasn't dividing them up, giving them the space it needs to grow. And so when you see that the mint have been growing there for a while and it's getting really full, it's really good to divide them up. And they're so hardy, you can just take them up and just tear out or just trim off those roots. It's rarely going to go in shock, and if it does go in shock, I have a video to show you guys how to prevent or fix those sort of transplant shock. I will leave a link down below for you guys to check out. But even if it goes through the shock, it's going to bounce back in a few days or even in a week time. I mean, it's not going to die, you know, as long as you keep it watered and you give it a bit of light for it to grow in. I do grow spearmint, but I'm not going to try that out with you guys, since I'm sure that's one of the more common ones that a lot of people do grow. And spearmint is the type that a lot of in Vietnamese cuisine, the fresh herbs, that would be included in there. So I have that growing. And then the next one I want to share with you guys is the strawberry mint. Smells so good. Let's try this real fast. Okay. Wow, I think it's the heat or something. It's making the taste a lot stronger. At first it didn't remind me of strawberry so much, but then the more I taste it, the more I'm picking up those strawberry notes. It's really sharp, berry, fruity like notes in it. So this one is not minty at all, but it has a very strong strawberry scent to me, and I love picking a leaf of this to eat with my strawberry. It really seems to enhance the experience of the strawberry to me, and I love pairing it with the strawberry mint. Really seems to enhance that strawberry flavor. So good. I think I just really enjoy that sweet fragrance. Oh my gosh. It really like encourages me to breathe deeper, like inhale deeper. Just because it's, I mean, it's like aromatherapy, right? Alright, so this one is a patchouli. This is in the mint family, that's why I'm including it in this video, but most people won't really grow this and call it a mint, because this is actually grown more for you know, the perfume industry, but it's actually a mint, and it's edible. Not a lot of people eat them, Some people find the smell very intoxicating because, I guess, because of the passion for perfume. I'm not a big fan of perfume. I love essential oils and, I guess, fresh plants, like herbs smells. So I love these fresh mint smells a lot. So I don't find the patchouli to be like intoxicating to me, but the smell is, I have to admit that it is slowly growing on me. And when I have this boiled or even dried a bit and I add just a few of it and mixing it into my teas, it really does kind of make the tea, gives that little lift to the tea. So I really do enjoy that. And to propagate this is pretty easy. It's just like, you know, any other mint. You can just take a cutting, like the strawberry mint here, and you can just stick it in soil or water to let it root. But we can stick this back in the soil. Just like that. And then it'll set roots. So let's give patchouli a try for you guys. I'm gonna try this new tender leaf. It has a little more different flavor than other mints, and it's leaving my mouth with a really interesting flavor in my throat, but I'm not liking it though. It's a really strange, like that tiny bit of aftertaste you get from having like a really thick, creamy, like heavy whipping cream or something, but that very last bit of it that's like sitting in your throat, it has a little bit of that taste in like deep down in like the back of my tongue and in my throat sitting there. But I don't like it. I don't know, for some reason I don't like that, but as a tea, just a few leaves is okay for me. So I thought I'd just throw this in there as a bonus for those of you who are interested and who, you know, likes perfume. Alright, so the final mint that I want to share with you guys is, some call this the Egyptian mint or the Habec mint. This mint is super strong smelling. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like camphor and just super strong mint. Like just brushing through this mint, it is like just really, really strong. And it has a little bit of that dark depth to it, you know, like smoky or something. It just has like a deep smell. I wouldn't describe this mint being like so fresh smelling or something, you know, like maybe when I walk by it a little bit, that breeze smells a little bit more fresh, but because it's so strong in smell, it doesn't come across as fresh to me. But this is something that's really good to grow, you know, because it's so strong in smell, to keep some of the pests away. So maybe you can put this with your kale or cabbages, because of those, you know, cabbage butterflies and caterpillars love munching on those. So I might consider moving this one right next to my tree cabbage here to see if that would help out, because that thing keeps getting munched on. It's pretty sad because it grows such a beautiful rosette and then boom, the next day you're seeing it's all like full of holes and it's all messed up, you know. So I will try to do that to see if that helps. Also, yeah, so let's give this a try. I think some people call this like Egyptian mint because in the Middle East they actually use this mint for tea. They even mix it in with their salads. And it is extremely minty. It kind of tastes like, it's not sweet at all, but the strength of this mintiness is almost like numbing to my mouth. Reminds me of like a strong toothpaste, like that kind of spicy mintiness. One leaf is definitely more than enough to freshen your breath. Ooh. I love using some grow pots for it because grow pots are breathable all around, and so that would also prevent, you know, the roots from, you know, root bound from just tying and strangling itself eventually. So if I don't have enough time to get to like dividing them up, the idea of growing in a grow pot is that it would avoid that issue, like growing in a plastic or, you know, an unbreathable pot like a ceramic pot. Here is the strawberry mint. You can see that it is more linky because it's growing in the more shaded spot. So what I can do with this to encourage new growth is I'm just going to trim this back all the way to maybe just leaving an inch from the soil, and then I can dry all this up for tea. I've never tried drying strawberry mint for tea, but I'm hoping that the smell is going to hold so that I can have very like fruity kind of a summery tea. But yeah, that's just one great thing about mint, is that it really encourages you to eat, to use them, because the more often you give them a haircut, the more beautiful they're going to grow. Just let the plant know that I will be doing a nice pruning so you'll grow nice and vibrant and compact. So just want to kind of get low and cut. I know it seems difficult to kind of trim them up, but I promise it's going to make them grow so much better and more, just more mint. Alright, I'm just going to leave a little bit here. I'm just going to cover up the stems so that, remember what I was saying before, that each stem, you know, where the leaf is growing out of, it's the node, so it's going to root. So when I actually apply this fresh, you know, couple inches of soil in, it's actually going to encourage root growth. Okay, the way I would plant this, for example, if I had rooted this in water, you're rooting it like this in water, and so the roots will come out on the bottom here, right? So you would plant it in like this. Normally you would plant it directly in here like this, right? But I would actually lay it flat, kind of like tomatoes when you want to plant deeper, or you know, the more the stem touches the ground, it's going to grow more roots, the plant will become stronger, and also it's going to spread faster. So if I lay this flat in the soil, you're going to start seeing roots growing out of each of these nodes, so you're going to be getting a lot more out of like one cutting. So that's one way to do it. Or you can just directly plant this in the soil, but laying it flat as well to encourage root growth. So that is about it. And then just kind of water it in, set it aside, and let the plant do its thing. And I'm going to put this in a little more sun, probably not too much sun yet until the cutting have established, because it's once the sun hits it, it's going to get really wilting, you know, these fresh leaves that I just put down. Or another way is I'm just going to avoid transplant shock by placing a dome over this. Right now I'm going to be planting this new variety. It's called Candy Mint. It has like a kind of like a sweet floral scent. I love sweet floral scents, so I'm a huge sucker for that. So in order to plant this, I'm just going to open up the soil here. Okay. Spread this out a little bit. You're gonna get a new home. Are you excited? Okay. I got it established nice and well in that smaller pot. And now we're going to put this in here. So normally, again, we would plant it like this and call it a day, right? But for me, I'm just going to give it a little extra growing space by keeping it down like this. Just kind of covering it up. So I'll need a little more soil. But yeah, see how the roots are going to, you know, get them to grow, and you're going to get a lot fuller plant in a much faster amount of time. There's this one. Let it pop up a little. Okay, good luck. Thank you guys for joining me out here to plant out and do some pruning on the mint. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel, and to hit that notification bell button so that you'll be notified once a new video is out. You can also follow me on Facebook or Instagram, and to check out my website if you would like to support my work. I really would appreciate it. I'll leave the links of everything that I've mentioned in this video just in the description box below. Thank you guys. Happy gardening. See you right back here very soon. Bye.